The 2014 Fairbridge Festival has wrapped up for another year. The picturesque Fairbridge village, which began as a home for child migrants, becomes host to hundreds of musicians and thousands of punters for 3 days of music and festivities each year.
Oh, you really send me. You're just so user-friendly, cyberspace. I'm just a hacker in your fiber optic race.
Musician Bernard Carney is a Fairbridge Festival veteran, having been a regular for the last 2 decades. He was made an inaugural patron last year and says the event has evolved.
It's become a lot more worldly. It did start out as a very family, children-friendly festival, and it still is, of course. It's just that it's built on that, and it's grown to quite an enormous proportion into this wonderful sort of melee that it is now.
He says the family-friendly aspect of the festival is hugely important, with live music a big part of children's development and for planting the seeds to create the next generation of musicians.
They just have to see it. They just have to see the spectacle. They have to see people who have got instruments in their hand, working together as a team, making this stuff that makes you go, oh, like jump up and down a bit and make you feel happy. They just have to experience it.
And there was plenty of music on show across the 10 stages.
Done your best.
Ruby's Wine Bar, named after the village founder Kingsley Fairbridge's wife Ruby, remained a crowd favourite stage, providing an eclectic mix of acts over the weekend. And the man Jamar Key provided a welcome shelter when the rain set in. This year there was a new mix of stalls offering handmade goods and selected wares. There was a wider selection of food options to feed famished festival goers, and the buskers were in fine form.
Yeah, I took that box and burnt it to the ground. No promises, no messages to be found.
Artistic director Steve Barnes has been booking the stage acts for the last 18 years of the 22-year running festival. He's a research scientist with the CSIRO by day. Around that, he fits in going to other festivals and watching as many live performances as possible to find suitable acts for the Fairbridge Festival program.
It's a year-round job. It takes actually a bit more than a year. The cycles is usually about sort of 18 months between sort of first scoping some of the touring international acts or play and then selecting the Australian act.
He says the variety of acts on the festival bill have led to many young people continuing to come to the festival years after leaving the family nest.
A lot of the young people who are now sort of in their late teens, early 20s have been coming to the festival all their lives, and it's part of their lives. And in some cases, we've got a couple of bands playing here this weekend who are kids who basically came to Fairbridge when they were in their prams, and now they're on stages playing. So we've been kind of growing our own performers as well as growing our audience. I think that's something that's really special about this festival.
Steve Barnes says his 18 years on the job have been rewarding.
Like last night when we had a whole venue full of people absolutely going off their heads at Adrian Edmondson and the Bad Shepherds, just a fantastic gig. And just to say, hey, I actually had something to do with making that happen, that's a really wonderful feeling, and I'll definitely miss that.
The incoming artistic director Rod Vervest, who's worked on programming with Perth Festival, is taking over the reins for 2015 and is sure to see the Fairbridge tradition kept alive.